What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Netflix's new reality cooking show, Cooked with Cannabis. Hey, before you watch this review, please subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you would like to help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. First up, I would like to say thank you to Netflix for granting me the screener to the entire 6 episodes of this new show. Let me be upfront about my bias. I am a big fan of weed, and I am a big advocate for the legalization of weed. I personally believe that getting high is as healthy as it is fun, but I've never eaten any edibles yet. Would love to try some though, maybe one of these days. As much as I was looking forward to this show, obviously because it's weed related, I was a bit worried, to be honest, because the last cannabis cooking competition show that Netflix gave us was Cooking on High, which was a massive critical failure. Its intentions were good, but the show was not exciting enough. The setting was like a small kitchen. Perhaps they were going for that intimate vibe, but it just came off cheap and half-heartedly. And then they'd have one of the guys educate the audiences about marijuana, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it felt more like lecturing rather than enlightening. So the whole thing was a total bust. But thankfully, that's not the case with this one, Cooked with Cannabis. I guess Netflix is giving it another try, and this second shot kinda works. Cooked with Cannabis has more lively showmanship. Its race against time is more stimulating. The chefs that are featured look like they know what they're doing, and there's no obnoxious lecturing, and it's hosted by actual chefs instead of some influencer who happens to be a weed aficionado. This is one captivating cooking competition show. Produced by 24/7 Productions, long gone are the days of pot brownies and marijuana cookies. Today, the top chefs around the country and around the world are creating cannabis-infused culinary masterpieces. 3 contestants in each episode will compete for the $10,000 grand prize. Who among them can come up with the most fun-filled food that will also get us quote-unquote baked? Okay, so there are currently a total of 6 episodes in this season, and each episode has its own theme. I mean, how cool is that? There's a world global theme where the chefs have to pick a country and come up with a food from that country. There's a wedding theme where they'd have to come up with food that you usually find in weddings and receptions. And then there's the future theme where they'd have to come up with food that tastes like something that hasn't existed yet until we hit the future, which is totally awesome. This motivates our contestants to be extra creative, and it's a way to spice things up so that every episode doesn't look and feel the same way over and over again. Let me quickly describe to you the format. It starts out with appetizers, which usually takes about 30 minutes or so. Very tiny portions, but still fulfilling. And then they get about 45 minutes for the entree segment. This is the main dish. This is where they go mostly for the quail or the lamb or the steak. And then they get about less than 30 minutes to create the dessert. This is my favorite part because you see them making various cakes and ice creams, some of which I've never even heard of before. And the one constant rule is that they have to always incorporate weed chemicals like CBD and THC into their cooking. They themselves choose how many milligrams to throw into it, but they have to make sure that the food does not just taste great, but that it can also give you that feel-good feeling. You know what I'm saying? And as opposed to lecturing, the show would occasionally drop brief fun facts about marijuana on the screen, which I find to be a lot more helpful and engaging. The two judges, aka actual chefs, Kellis and Leather Stores, would bring in four semi-celebrities to also try the food as well. I say semi because these are B-list or internet celebs or amateur comedians. I mean, trust me, you'll have to pause a minute just to Wikipedia them. But while the chefs are doing their thing, Callis and Leather would have their own conversations in making their decisions, or they would talk to the guests. And to be frank with you, I think the show could do without the semi-celebrity guests, because the folks that they'd bring in oftentimes are not knowledgeable about weed, and they're not all that funny, and many of their discussions are awkward. They are easily my least favorite thing about this show. But other than that, Cooked with Cannabis is entertaining, and each of the contestants has his or her own fascinating personality, background, and aspiration, and the way the camera accentuates the food is really effective in making your mouth water. But the million-dollar question remains: can shows like Cooked with Cannabis catch on with millions of Netflix viewers? Because many states have legalized weed, but federally, on federal level, weed is still listed on Scheduling 1 of drug substance. People like cooking shows, but they may not like cooking shows that have to do with substance. It's really difficult to dismantle years of misconceptions and stigmas about marijuana. So I fear that it would have to take more than just some cannabis cooking show to help make the general public feel more comfortable around weed. But Cooked with Cannabis is a damn good effort though.